Just this, I'm an Oakland Athletic fan when the movie's on, Moneyball, and when Let's Go Jays, baby. Are they in the playoffs yet? When does that start? In October?
October.
All right, so I watched one game. I know one guy's name, Thornton, Bouchette.
Okay, hold on a sec. It's not, I told you this a few weeks ago. It's not
Bouchette.
It's Bouchette.
Oh, Bouchette.
And who is Thornton?
He plays in the Jays. He pitches.
Yeah, he's a pitcher.
Trent Thornton, his name?
Trent Thornton.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
You know, he's like a relief
Look at
pitcher.
this.
Good for you.
Got it all up here.
But you don't know their number one starter, do you?
Pitching?
Yeah. Their ace.
No.
Hung Jun Ryu.
Yeah,
I
you won't
wouldn't-
remember that name.
I would never.
But he knows a relief pitcher that pitches in the sixth inning.
Well, it's an easy
I'll
name.
be completely honest. The TV came on. And it was like, and in relief, Trent Thornton. I'm
You
like,
Hey everybody, welcome back to Off the Hosel, episode 74. I'm your host, Torrie Coghlin, joined by my brother and esteemed colleague, Danny H.
Voice.
Drew.
what's going on? You're not the host, but welcome back, Troy, to the podcast. He's been
Been a
gone
while.
for quite some time, and Dan's back in the house too as well. No intern this week. Christian's in the background as always. But first, this is a Nissan-driven podcast. It's time you check out the new Nissan Rogues, Kicks, Frontiers. Is that a Frontier? Is that a Nissan Frontier?
It is.
It is. Awesome. 1111 Broad Street in Regina, Saskatchewan. Drive Nissan, oil changes, great people there. Check them out. And Troy's rip off where we are recording from.
As always, we're located live at Divots Indoor Golf at 6823 Rochdale Boulevard. Closed for the season right now, but we'll open up when this beautiful weather decides to go away. 7 great simulators. Got awesome food, awesome staff.
Cold beers.
Cold beers. And the golf is fantastic for those non-summery days like we're having today. So,
Well, speaking of summer days and hot days, it's time, or when you need a cold drink, we'd like to drink. Danny H will tell you.
We like to drink here at Off the Hosel. I don't know about Troy, but Vizzy Hard Seltzers. So everyone meet the new Vizzy Hard Seltzer with 100 calories, 355 millimeters. That's how big the can is.
milliliters.
Milliliters, sorry. Yeah.
Easy,
was it-
stat guy.
Didn't do so well in science, did you?
No, I didn't do well in
Nor did
anything
I.
in school. The variety packs with Vizzies, they got pineapple mango, blueberry pomegranate, strawberry kiwi, black cherry lime flavors. They're delicious, Drew, right? We have them on the course all the time.
Yeah, they're unreal. I love them.
If you're, I'm a beer guy, but when you're not craving a beer, have one of these and they'll get the job done.
Get busy, get wild. Molson products only.
I like that.
And, of
There you
course, Last Mountain Distillery.
Get busy, get wild. I like that.
All right, boys, we have lots to chat about this week. It's a big week in the local sport world as well. We'll get to that in the latter portion of the podcast with a big tournament and probably one of 3, maybe 4 tournaments this year in Saskatchewan. But first, we got some NHL playoffs to cover. As always, we're hockey guys too. We're going to talk about quickly, as Troy wasn't here last week or the week
been a few
before that.
weeks.
So we welcome him back, and Jeremy Hanley watching, big fan of Troy's.
Jay Han, how you doing, brother?
Jayhan. We're going to bring up the Edmonton Oilers first, getting swept after finishing second place in the regular season. I've had experience with this, coaching a team, doing the same exact thing, but now we have a fan of the Edmonton Oilers. Troy, let's walk through the Edmonton Oilers losing 4 straight to the Winnipeg Jets.
Heartbreaking, not really. Expected, not really. 4-game sweep. That was unexpected.
Yeah.
I've said it before. If you keep the big guns off the board, you're not going to win.
Yep.
Edmonton has issues with their depth. They have, in my opinion, no depth after 4 players. I'm talking offense.
Yep.
Right? You've got McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent, and who am I forgetting here? Okay, sorry, they got 3 guys.
Yeah,
Their depth, that's what kills them. They don't have any of those third, fourth line scorers, which most NHL teams do. Defense actually played pretty good. I mean, if you look at the scores of the games, it wasn't 5-0. You know what I mean? They're very 3 games went to overtime. You know what I mean?
Well, and the fact that Darnell Nurse played over 60 minutes in the last game.
And then flew home directly after the game to see the birth of his new child. So, Nurse had a good playoff. Smitty did everything he possibly could at 39 years old.
Yeah.
They're talking about bringing him back next year already, and I'm hoping that's for a backup role.
Backup position.
Well, they've already confirmed that they're bringing Costner back as well. So
I don't want to cheer for them next year. That's because that's not good. And it's Torelli's. His footprints on the team are almost off the board. I know we got $22 million to spend this year in free agency. So
Yeah.
I know I'm not trying to jump the gun before we get there, but I know right now, and I'm willing to bet you a shiny $100 bill that Hyman will be an Oiler next year.
Oh no,
That's where the Oilers are going to put their
I hope
money.
not.
Well, I already heard rumors of Hyman going to the Rangers next year.
He's going to sign with the Oilers, and that's
It depends what he asks
I
for.
got inside information on that.
Okay.
Steve, that's all I'm going to say.
All right.
I don't want to say his last name because I don't want to get roasted. No, so I mean the Oilers, disappointing, very much so. Again, I know we're going to get into what happened last night. All I'm going to say is the Oilers got a good week and a half start on the golf course, so they'll get the Leafs number there too. So,
Well, before you jump in and we go to Danny and the Leafs, Troy, I just as a fan of the Oilers, I want to know. We talked with our guest today, Brian Munz, about it. What do you think, as a fan, the Oilers need to get with depth in the offseason? What kind of guys does McDavid need around him for that team to be successful?
So what they need to do, in my opinion, is they got to split up Draisaitl and McDavid. You got to have two solid lines. You can't have them playing together because in your bottom three or your bottom nine, I had to do some quick math there, isn't as strong.
Stat guy.
Yeah, I know. So they need to find a right or left winger with good skill set that can keep up with the pace of play of both Draisaitl and McDavid.
Yeah.
I think Cassian is done after he's done actually. He's a free agent now, so that's going to free up some money. He was a no-show for 3 of the 4 games. He also had concussions like crazy. Kara, I mean, the guy shouldn't be playing. How many concussions he had this year? He's gone. The new NHL isn't tough fighting, and I'm being honest, it's not. You need speed.
Yeah.
Speed kills. Now, the problem with McDavid is he's so bloody fast, he's got no one to keep up with him. Right?
Yeah.
So you got to get someone that's fast, can take a crispy pass, right? Put the puck in the net.
Tape to tape.
Tape to tape.
Sorry, what are you gonna do with Puvarvi or whatever?
Oh, he stepped his game up this year.
Yeah, he did. I was very surprised.
Yes,
I liked him.
He'll probably be your first line winger, I'm thinking, alongside McDavid.
Yeah. They played pretty well together, actually.
Our defense is nice. Larson's going to sign a contract. He's going to take a pay cut, guarantee it. I'll tell you right now.
I don't like him.
When they traded Larson for Taylor Hall, was that 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
Long time ago, yeah.
So angry. I'm like, who is this butt plug coming to play defense for the Oilers? You just gave up fucking Taylor Hall, right? He is a sound defenseman. He generally leads the league in hits. Doesn't make that many mistakes. He's going to take a pay cut, though. And he's going to stay. I guarantee it.
He got hurt then there, right? Well,
He played all. He played all 4 games.
And
Okay,
quickly before we
else.
jump on, we're probably gonna they're gonna lose Tyson Berry unless they didn't
And
get
that's
some money.
okay. No, we're not getting Barry back. They've already said that he's going to leave. And that's okay. I mean, you got to remember, the Oilers got Evan Bouchard, who only played a handful of games, and he is going to be a top 4 defenseman, guarantee 110%.
Whoa.
Absolutely. Shoots from anywhere. Love that guy.
Wow.
You don't think so?
Playing 12 games, I'm never going to say guy's going to be a top 4 defenseman in the National Hockey League.
On the Oilers. I never said in the NHL. In the Oilers.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, then
Right?
then that trend may still be the same way the next 20 years. But, I mean, man, I just think for me as watching that team, they need more depth like you just mentioned. Tyler Ennis is a good player, but he's too old. They need younger guys that are already capable. The Connor Browns of the games, like Hyman's you said. I can't even think of guys that are young enough that play those roles that aren't the 100-point guys. The guys that score 40 points a year but also have plus 30.
Right. I mean, one big hiccup in the Oilers program is goaltending. And I've said that for many, many years. The goaltending is again, I know we're going to go talk to Daniel here about Toronto, but it's almost the same scenario as Toronto. Toronto pays how many millions of dollars to Freddie Anderson, and he rode pine.
Wow.
We signed Mike Smith to a 1-year deal, and I was mad about it. But the guy played his heart out. He did. He had a hell of a year. But when you got Koskinen in there who can't stop 3 of 6 shots, it's tough to win.
Yeah.
And you can't ride a 39 going on 40-year-old goalie back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
I'm 40. I know what it's like. I mean, I go play 2 rounds of golf back to back, and I'm like, holy Christ, I'm sore. Like I need to sit in a hot tub, take some muscle relaxants. You young guys, yeah, go play. You guys can do 4, 5, 6 games in a row. You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts on the Oilers. Like I said, we're out on the golf course. They're out on the golf course. They're looking good. I mean, there's a lot of nice courses in Alberta that they're probably playing, and they probably got a good head start on some of these other teams. So. Here's to next year.
Yeah, there it is. There's the Oilers recap from Troy, moving into the 2022 season. Is that correct?
Yeah.
21 season. So now over to Dan, and he's a big Leaf fan. Great division season this year. They finished first. They lose in 7 to the Montreal Canadiens. Dan, we're going to ask some questions here. We want to get your answers as a fan perspective. Before you do that, right away, Troy brought up, riding a guy. Freddie Anderson didn't play a lot.
Yeah, injuries this year.
You ride the hot goalie. Jack Campbell, I thought, was incredible. He had some cup experience over in L.A. But Dan, let's get right into it, man, with the thick of things here.
Fuck. What do you say? Like, last night I couldn't even sleep last night. That's how disappointed I was. I don't know. Where do you want to go with it? First of all, I want to say, because you brought up Campbell there, he did everything he could. It wasn't a goaltending issue for the playoffs. He did everything he could to give them an opportunity to win. And I think the biggest thing, the Leafs, they got all, like we talked off there, they got all the pieces. They got their big guns. They got their goal scorers. They got all the depth. But they don't know how to win. They don't know how to show up for those big games. They can't play big boy hockey. Like Marner, I don't know what the hell he was doing this year. He didn't show up for playoffs. Matthews, he was throwing his body around a little bit this year, but he got, when you only score 1 goal in 7 games, like, come on, you're the top scorer in the NHL, and that's all you do. And I could go through that whole lineup and just kind of, tic-tac at every player and say what they did wrong. But I just think as a collective, as a team, they didn't do shit this year, and they didn't show up. And like, what do you say? What more do you say?
So I want to ask you a question, Dan. Sheldon Keefe,
yeah.
Stay or go?
See, I could see them getting rid of him. I think if they got a new coach, me and a buddy of mine are talking, and he's a Leafs fan too. We were actually talking about, who's a free agent. I don't know how he would do with the Leafs players, but Tortorella's he's sitting at home right now. Maybe you get a guy like that in there, and he demands toughness, right? Columbus, he didn't work out for him in the end, but he's always coached a tough hockey team. And
the only thing I worry about there is how. When who was there? Was it Dubois? And then Laine was there, right?
That's just it.
That's the only way is like
with the superstars.
Matthews and Marner, do they gravitate to that, right? Because they already hated Babcock. Or maybe I hated him, sorry, that's not the correct term. Probably didn't like him, I should say, or didn't gravitate to him. But Tortorella's a great coach. I like the guy.
Yeah,
I respect him.
Maybe he'd be a great fit for them. You don't know, right? But I think Keefe could be gone. I think Dubas and Shannon are going to stay. I think they're put unless the president comes in or the owner comes in and says you're gone.
Yeah.
But
so do you think it's a big problem? And again, we're in the same boat here. I'm an Oilers fan, you're a Leafs fan, right? We both had early round exits that weren't expected.
No.
Right? It should have been a Leafs versus the Oilers.
Yeah.
Right? Should have been. Do you think that the money spent on the top players, and I mean, I know the answer for the Oilers, should have been dispersed throughout the entire roster?
Yes. I mean, they looking back at it, I mean, does Marner deserve $11 million? No, because they haven't done anything for it. But you look at these other teams, like the Islanders, for example. Like their top paid guy, I was looking, was like $6-7 million, and look at that team. They're pushing. They're going deep in the playoffs. So they have a grittier team than the Leafs, right? I think if they can, but that's the frustrating part, because then you go back to Leafs. Oh, they do have Simmons and all these other pieces that are tough, but they just didn't show up. I mean,
So the one thing I want to add, both of you are both fans of teams that have a continuously losing record. I heard it today. Someone was saying, you look at teams that have won and won multiple cups. You don't always win when you're young. Steve Yzerman didn't win till he was 30, and the Wings didn't win multiple cups because they were young, right? So the Leafs are still relatively young. The Oilers are relatively young. Yeah. McDavid, Draisaitl. So and I was saying off the record to both of you guys, like the Leafs. Like they take that core. They have all the guys already. Like, we're not bringing in a Crosby. You're not bringing in a John Carlson. Like, you have the team. The Oilers have to make some moves. But as far as the Leafs, though, they keep the team the way it is. They keep the coach, whatever they have to do. You walk in that room, go, where did we go wrong? Everyone knows, they're losing the playoffs. Well, yeah, everyone knows that. How do we get over that, right? That's where you take that team down to Austin Matthews. Hey, we need Morphy in the playoffs. We need you to be in the dirty areas. I don't find Matthews in the dirty areas enough in the playoffs. Right. Marner needs some more nuts in the playoffs. No. You know, Muzzin goes down. That hurts their team. He's a big defenseman, I think, a part of that club. But I just think they need more push in the playoffs. Like, and Billy Beane said it best in Moneyball, it doesn't matter if you don't win the last game of the season, no one gives a shit. Yep. So if you can win 83-1 or 80-2, whatever you want to call it, and you don't win the end of the year, no one cares. That's where I'm at with that.
That's a good analogy, and I totally agree with you 110%. I mean, Leafs finished first, Oilers finished second, and
it's just a waste of a season to me.
And not only a season for the players, but honestly as fans. Because, you know, you invest a lot of time watching the Leafs.
I watched every single game.
I try to watch every game. And I'll be dead honest. You know, I've been gone for a few weeks. We're back in Regina now, and I was living at Mom and Dad's. And when the Oilers lost Game 3, I was like, okay, well, Game 4, I guess I got to watch it now, right? I was sleeping when it went into double overtime, and I woke up and Dad told me that they lost, and I said, good. I don't got to waste, it would have been a Wednesday night to watch Game 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It gets so frustrating as fans.
It is, yeah.
And, you know, because you invest your time, you invest your money into product, and, you know, you watch social media today and you see, and I seen it all last week too with the Oilers, but you see guys burning Leaf jerseys and burning Oiler jerseys, and I'm a Kraken fan now, and I'm this and I'm that. I've been tempted. But I'll tell you right now, I'm booked in for tattoo work, and I know what I'm getting done. There's going to be a big Oiler logo done, and I know you've got a Leafs one.
Yeah,
so.
you're pissed off, you're mad, and you could.
I'll tell you, young guys, a fun story, real quick.
Sure.
It is sports related. So I was born in 1980. I wasn't a big football guy, NFL, and Dad always cheered for the Philadelphia Eagles. Right?
Yep.
I'm going to cheer for the Eagles. Dad cheered for them. Mm-hmm. I was 38 when they finally won their first Super Bowl. And I'll tell you, it sure paid off. It felt good. It was like I was part of that team. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing I learned is never to switch your colors, right? I mean, as much as you're pissed off and you're just like, I'm done with this, the Leafs are going to win. It's going to happen. The Oilers are going to win. I mean, we won back in the 80s and 90s, early 90s. So, I mean, you've got a little bit longer wait. But I'll tell you, when the Eagles, when they won that Super Bowl a few years ago, I mean, it was like ecstasy. I was just like, oh, my God. Like,
Never done it.
I've never done it either. We don't promote drugs on this podcast by any means. Sorry, bad choice of words. But no, it was that feeling you get when it finally happens is unbelievable. And you got to remember, with the NHL, NFL, MLB, NBA, there's, 30-plus teams in each league. It's tough to win a championship.
Yep.
And I mean,
in hockey's
I'm not trying to, jump into the next topic, but I mean, look at baseball, for example. The Yankees have won how many World Series?
Yeah.
They buy their teams every year. They're investing hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into their salary. Yeah. And then you take a team like the Tampa Bay Rays last year with a $30 million payroll and go to Game 6 of the World Series. You know what I mean? Money doesn't buy you championships. No. Everyone says it helps.
But doesn't.
But you need the players in the locker room to buy into that mentality to win the game.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Perfect. I love it. That was a good hockey talk, I think.
Can I bring up one more point?
Sure, Dan.
Did you guys watch Game 7 last night?
Yep.
Yeah.
I flipped over, during the intermissions, I flipped over the Boston Islanders game. It's like you go from, it looked like a preseason game. The way
that blue and white game.
Yeah, it looked like no one gave a shit. And then you go to the Islanders, Boston, there's hits, there's scrums every whistle. It's like, okay, what's going on here? I think there's just a lack of intensity and
you know what, though? I think the reason, too, Dan, because that is the fans. Fans in the buildings. Last night they let 520.
Yeah, 500 people. 550, sorry. For sure.
Essential workers into the building. You go down south and watch these games. They got packed barns. There's 20,000
Carolina?
Carolina. I mean.
It helps, but when you're making $11 million, I think that should help.
Yeah.
Too. You know what I mean? Like, it just.
Yeah. Okay, quickly here, we'll jump on to some other stuff I want to talk about today. We'll stick right with hockey here. Who do you guys like in the next series? Montreal, Winnipeg. It's quick answers. Troy.
Jets in 6.
Dan?
Yeah, I'll go Jets in 6 too.
Yeah, I like the Jets as well. Yeah, I
You know what? I'm going Jets in 5. I'll go Jets in 5. Change it up.
I'm just gonna say 7 because I like to watch as many hockey games as possible. But
Oh, I hope so.
Winnipeg's a big, strong team. And I watch every Oiler game.
I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but I'm pretty sure I said Winnipeg would be one of the best teams in the North this year.
You did.
But yeah, I like their team. Now the next question is, who do you guys see in the Final Four?
Can I just say Stanley Cup champ?
Sure.
Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Colorado too off there.
Yeah.
It's an easy team to pick. I think if Colorado doesn't get past Vegas, which I think they will, I think Vegas will take a good run.
I'm really hoping for Ebbs and the Islanders, though. Really hoping.
Oh yeah, they won last night.
I know they did.
Yeah, I did want to.
Who do you got?
Well, Colorado too. Like they're just so dominant and they're fast and they're good and everyone seems to gel. But Vegas isn't out of it. Like Vegas can come back hard. I think that series goes the longevity of it, like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're two good teams. I think whoever wins that finally gets their cup. I mean, Vegas has been waiting 2 years for the cup, and Colorado's been waiting since
Does that
1998.
scare you a little? You think the Kraken got a Stanley Cup team in the next 3 years?
The whole expansion draft's way different.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Okay, do you want to do local talk now, or do you want to bring up some baseball talk? I actually watched one game.
Who'd you watch? Hey, by the way, I seen on Instagram on my weeks off there that you put out a post who you should cheer for. I know I commented Oakland because I like Oakland.
Yeah.
Did you pick a team?
Yeah, honestly, like there was so many random ones, like the Rays and the Rockies, and they all have such cool names and cool
pick?
logos. You know,
Our listeners want to know.
I went with my
MLB
guts,
team?
and I went with I'm
Jays.
Toronto. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
The Canadian team.
Soft as
I'm
Charmin.
gonna go-
Soft as Charmin.
I have to cheer for at least one Canadian team if I had a team to cheer for.
Well, one thing,
There's
the
only one
Jays, the Jays are
The
always on.
Riders.
I cheer for them too.
The Jays are always on TV. You know, if
True.
you're Tampa Bay, you're not gonna. Are you gonna go?
Yeah,
everywhere,
I mean,
you know?
I guess this. I'm an Oakland Athletic fan when the movie's on, Moneyball, and when let's go Jays, baby. Are they in the playoffs yet? When does that start? In October?
October.
All right, so I watched one game. I know one guy's name, Thornton, Bouchette.
Okay, hold on a sec. It's not. I told you this a few weeks ago. It's not
It's
Bouchette.
Bouchette.
It's Bouchette.
Shit.
Oh,
Bold
Bouchette.
And who
Bouchette.
is Thornton?
He plays in the Jays. He pitches.
Yeah, he's a pitcher.
Trent Thornton, his name.
Trent Thornton.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
You know, he's like a relief
Look at
pitcher.
this.
Good for you.
Got it all up here.
But you don't know their number one starter, do you?
Pitching?
Yeah. Their ace.
No.
Hung Jun Ryu.
Yeah,
I
you won't
wouldn't-
remember that name.
I would never.
But he knows a relief pitcher that pitches in the 6th inning.
Well, it's an easy
I'll
name.
be completely honest. The TV came on. And it was like, and in relief, Trent Thornton.
You
I'm
got
like,
Vladdy Guerrero Jr.
oh, I know
He's
him.
one
Yeah.
of the hottest. Well,
Yeah, he's on fire now.
I think he's leading the league in home runs right
Yeah.
now. He's actually like T1 for.
You think the Jays should ever get Aaron Judge?
No, and we don't want him.
Oh, he's-
Oh, did I say we?
doesn't he-
Like I'm
doesn't-
a Jays
Yeah, you're a
fan.
Jays fan.
Doesn't he like?
Closet.
Doesn't he like? Or isn't he like one of the best players of the game? Like
We'll
best hitter?
teach you. We'll teach you there.
Isn't
No,
there-
he's a great ball player if he could play ball. He's always hurt.
Oh. All right.
He's like a Giancarlo Stanton, another Yankee, whose real name is Mike, but he doesn't like being called Mike.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's Giancarlo.
All right. CFL news. The Edmonton
Elks.
now.
Elks.
New logo, new name.
Thoughts? I got questions for you guys. Thoughts on their new team name?
I just hope the Riders pound them. I mean, that's all I care about, baby. Let's go.
The
Pilsner.
logo's not bad. I like the elk, but I don't really care. I think it's like it's okay.
We have a friend of our show in the audience here back here, Scotty D, and
Hey,
he's
Scotty.
just shaking his head. No,
hates it?
not Elks, not Elks.
Oh, he doesn't like it?
Here's my thought process on the Elks. So the Riders, we're always called, melonheads, right? Melonheads, that's watermelon.
Yeah.
Bombers are, they're from Winnipeg. They don't even need like a subtitle or another name.
We have a lot of
Now,
Winnipeg
to
fans.
me-
Sorry,
no,
Winnipeg.
I'm just calling it like I see it. So you take a team like the Edmonton, we can't say that name anymore, and you change it to the Edmonton Elks. There's so many different E words they could have used, yet they took one called the Elks. How many fans in the CFL that are not Edmonton fans are going to be like bloody drunks or a bunch of alcoholics? It's just going to be a play on words, right?
Or if they were elk, actually, Montana should sponsor the team. They just give out those moose heads, the player of the game.
But I mean, I understand
the horns.
marketing.
Yeah, it's a good marketing.
They don't want to switch the logo, the double
Yeah.
E, right? But you could have went, personally, my favorite would have been the Empire. I like Empire, Edmonton Empire,
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah, but then
maybe that's why I don't.
But then it's kind of like Mean Machine. There's not a ring to it. Just like
The Edmonton Empire? And you come out and to Darth Vader's music?
And they got to trade or change their whole, like you said, marketing thing around, and they probably don't want to do that. They They're losing money and they don't got any money now
I
to do it.
suppose. I mean, it's not a bad name. It could have been. There was like a few out there I seen. I was just like,
We were in the running for it. I was going to put Edmonton off the Hosel. We were to sponsor the team, and
maybe in a couple of years, if the league's in financial trouble, like it might be. So.
hey, there's
No,
positive
actually,
take.
and keeping with CFL, they are talking about, I read it today, something to do with the new COVID restrictions. The government's going to allow American players back in for training camp, I believe, starting.
But you need both vaccinations.
Actually, funny that we're talking about this. I had talked to a friend of the show, head coach Craig Dickinson, last night.
Yep.
I was asking him to go for a round of golf. He's not back in Canada or Regina until July 1st. He's back July 1. So I think, what did you say would camp start?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Okay, I thought it was.
No, I just said you need both vaccinations.
Yeah,
though.
and I believe camps are supposed to start around third week of July. So good news for the CFL. We're getting through this COVID thing.
Have they announced about fans yet? I don't even.
Not yet, no.
Oh.
Well, everything seems to be going upward, which is nice. So
Yeah.
knock on wood. Okay, local talk. Big week this week. The Scotia Wealth Open is supposed to be the 18th annual. It's actually, well, it's supposed to be the 18th, but it's the 17th because last year COVID. One of the best tournaments around. Biggest field this year ever, 84 players.
Wow.
It's college players, amateurs, pros. Yeah, and it's just one of the best events around because, I mean, all the camaraderie at the golf course. And it's a little, what are you doing your face
Sorry, I
there?
didn't look. Here's my nose.
There's I'm doing this. What are you doing? But yeah, so it's a big event. Great golf course up there in Nipawin. Yeah, I'm excited. We're
So-
heading up there, half of us.
I was going
Two
to
of
ask, is the host of the show playing in this tournament?
I am. I'm teeing off 9 a.m. First group with Ziggy, friend of the show, and Stephen Doucher, I believe. Douche, good dude.
Are you excited?
Very, yeah.
Are you nervous?
I don't get nervous for golf
Okay, I
tournaments.
got to ask. I mean, this is your first tournament in a year and a half.
No, I played last year. We played a team event.
When did the COVID stuff kick in?
I played, what's it called here? Fraser Cup.
Yeah, at the Royal.
Oh, right.
But I
right,
didn't
right.
play a stroke play tournament yet last
So
year.
you obviously know the field a lot more than Daniel and I do.
Yeah, well, a lot of them on the show, though. Dean Brown.
No, I know.
Oh, sorry.
Strong field?
Very, yeah.
Okay, I never played in these tournaments,
can't play.
obviously. No, but I never
Oh.
did growing up.
Oh.
Daniel never did either.
No.
What do you see at the end of the day? What's the score to beat?
Well, I know everyone listening and watching it has heard this multiple times, but 2 years ago, I shot 70. I was day one leader. Then I got wasted and shot 81 the next day, but we'll leave it for another time.
Hashtag in one.
Yeah, hashtag in one. Yeah, I don't know. Like the course is gettable, but it seems to me like all the time guys are around 2 under, 3 under. Like there's definitely a 64 there, and I think that's a record, but I don't know, maybe it's his first term of the year, a lot of jitters, a lot of guys get a little shaky. It's really tight up there, trees everywhere. Yeah, probably 4 under this year, 5 under. That's probably going low, but
Well, I know Daniel, myself, and Christian and Scotty D here, we're rooting for you, so shoot low. I think I always told you this growing up when you're in your tournaments. Don't make bogeys, make birdies. I know it sounds easy, but
sounds
still
incredibly easy.
still use that mentality. No, I'm just giving you a little advice, older brother advice. Don't make bogeys, make birdies. So
And then I remember Dad always used to say, if you don't finish, if you're not first, you're last. He's like, I always say that. I'm like, yeah, Ricky Bobby says that, Dad.
Yeah, that's off a movie.
So,
there.
But yeah,
when I
so
wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
yeah, so big event, June 5th and 6th.
And you're going to give us score updates, I assume?
Yeah, so thanks, Dan, for bringing that up. Christian and I going up there. We're doing pre-show interviews. We're gonna do one with the head pro of the golf course, talk about it. Basically like the Golf Channel. And then after, that's why I'm playing first, so I can be behind 18 green. And then the lowest guy in each group will come off over and be like, hey, we're here with Dan today. Let's talk about your round, this and that, blah blah. So it's gonna be kind of cool. 35-second interviews. We'll do 28 of them. It'll be collabed, thrown on Facebook. So everyone that's back home, family, friends can watch it.
Well, I know I wish I could be there, but I got to go back to work.
Yeah.
My holidays were moving, right?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I can't be there because I think it'd be a blast, to be honest.
Yeah,
Plus,
no.
I kind of wanted to carry your bag. I wanted to be out there. And I don't mean that sexually for everyone out there listening and watching. I mean, carry his golf clubs, Here's a 7-iron. Drew says, give me my pitching wedge.
And,
Drew puts the pitching wedge in the hole. You're fired.
Yes.
So, Good luck out there, Drew, and to all of our listeners that are
and our
participating.
previous guests, all the
Yeah.
guys that are playing, and like I said, it's a fun event. We're excited. I told Dean, who's one of our guests today, Prosky, I said must be the biggest field ever. He goes, well, it is. I said, well, it's probably because we're covering it down there. So we're going down there to do some interviews. We give a lot of the guys that don't get a lot of TV time.
Going up there?
Up there,
Right,
sorry.
just checking.
Just to talk, give these guys that don't get TV time or photo time or just because they are good golfers, but they're not pros, so they don't get a lot of, golf channel stuff. So
But that's what we do here at Off the Hosel. Right?
It's just we do.
cover the locals. So
give back.
local and provincial golf. That's why we're here doing this. So
All right. Golf roundup in the PGA quickly here. As this is running along. We have a long podcast today, which is totally fine with 3 interviews. But
well, if you're driving up to Nipawin, you got lots of time to listen to it.
exactly. There it is. Look at that. Using his brain. Charles Schwab Challenge at Colonial. Winner was Jason Kokrak, winning by 2 over Jordan Spieth.
Choke.
Was it a choke? But how good is he playing, though?
He's playing really good, but I mean, he should have had that tournament in the bag.
Did you watch lots of it?
No, I followed the golf app, and I watched some, but I, always looking in on Abe, seeing how he's doing, and Abe wasn't so shit on himself, but he actually turned around, and I can't.
T14.
T14, right?
Yeah.
No, Jordan should have won that tournament. Agree or disagree?
Honestly, I didn't watch a whole lot of it. I watched the last day. I mean, man, golf's so hard. Like, I don't think people understand how hard the game of golf is. And I know we all do. Like, this is why we're doing this. We're not PGA players, but man, like he won 3 weeks ago. He's shooting consistently good scores. Jason Kokrak's a good player. So I mean, to go down to the wire, those two. I mean, he won by 2. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jordan's good, and he's gonna be good for the next coming years. I hope.
It's funny you say golf's hard, Daniel. I'm heading out tomorrow with a couple of friends to play Avonlea. Thank you, Brad. And there'll be some Instagram stuff put up there. I'm aiming to beat 85. Now, if I'm shooting a consistent 85, I'm not playing on the tour.
Nope.
Not even close. There's no one looking at me. Golf's a very hard game, but it's a game that's just so enjoyable, and it's that one round or that one shot that makes you go, I want to play again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And I mean, you know that. You're very hard on yourself. I've watched you and played with you. You're very, very hard on yourself, and
Just like
doesn't make a 13-foot putt for birdie, and he's throwing wrenches pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just like, dude, if I was within 13 feet, I'd be excited,
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, that was just another little ramble.
That's good. No, rip off the Canadians. Michael Gligic was cut. Corey Connors, T20th. Nick Taylor, T62. Mackenzie Hughes was cut. And Adam Hadwin, friend of the show, T8th. And as Troy and I just mentioned, Abraham Answer was T14th. And a quick side note for all you Twitter trolls out there that think you're so smart and so tough behind the screen, cousin Dale Vallely back on the bag this week in Germany. Can't caddy. In the States, it says the Twitter trolls that don't have brains, don't know how to read, and Dale can't leave.
It's visa issues.
Visa issues. So you know what? Dale's going back on the caddy for
He's
Abe.
there. Yeah, he arrived.
They got off the plane yesterday, and Abe's doing like a little shimmy, and they're bros. So like they're good buddies. He's excited. They're in Germany, where I want to go so bad one day. I'm excited to watch that event.
Yeah, I mean, good for Dale. We hear it a lot more than everybody else because it's family. Oh, Dale got fired. Dale got canned. It's just like
They don't know
you
the
don't
half.
know
Yeah.
what's going on. It's an American working visa issue is what's happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know the logistics of it, but apparently he can travel to other countries and do this.
Yeah.
So
Just not in the States.
I know
yeah.
Abe plays a few tournaments outside the United States, so Dale is back with Abe. It's just a matter of time when the visa goes through. So we're rooting for Dale, we're rooting for Abe, and
of course, we'll always be licking his boots, whether Dale is on his bag or not on his bag.
I know, but it's we're hoping for
Just
the W.
cowards, all of them.
Why?
Twitter trolls and
You
Instagram.
can't
trolls.
read them. You can't read them.
Yeah,
through.
but you're one of those guys that reads the
Well,
comments.
I have to go back and like.
Wait till we're blue check.
I have to
dude.
read it and like, who's this guy? Oh, it doesn't have a name. Correct, right?
Yeah, wait till we're blue check mark. You think it's bad now?
Yeah. Fine. Whatever. Okay, this week, the Memorial. Not as many guys that are playing this past week. A guy that I actually direct messaged or emailed today is personally Harry Higgs is playing.
Yeah.
I'd love to get Harry on the show. I think he'd be a beauty.
Double H?
Yeah, I think he'd be awesome. There's a photo actually the other day, or this morning I was looking at. It's like what I feel like I look like on the golf course and what I actually look like. It's like Brooks Koepka and then it's Harry Higgs. So it's kind of funny because I'm like, I think I look like Brooks and I'm like, I probably look more like Harry Higgs. But yeah,
I've got a question.
Shoot.
U.S. Opens what, next week?
Oh, man, don't put me in the spotlight that with
It's
dates.
either next week or the week after.
There's wires across.
It's next week or the week after.
Wires crossed.
If I'm the PGA, are you not setting up opening round 1 tee-off times DeChambeau and Koepka in the same group?
Well, yeah.
Could you imagine the media that's going to bring?
Oh, yeah.
The TV ratings.
The guys that don't watch a lot of golf that know kind of, because they're on Twitter, Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook, and they're going, oh, these guys don't like each other.
They would check in for sure. They would watch.
Why aren't they? Shit, it's like a pay-per-view. I would be announcing it right now, 2 weeks before the tournament starts. DeChambeau, Koepka, fight night, round 1.
Yeah, I mean, they probably could be doing that.
They don't like each other.
Well,
I've been
see-
watching on Twitter, and it's just they're back and forth at each other.
See, now I don't know now because I checked into Benny Hebert, his friend of the show. They have a podcast now with Bo Levi Mitchell and Ben, and they had Max Home on, and Max said, "I'm not really like close to those guys, but he goes, I think they do it for entertainment. Like they actually like he doesn't know if they don't like each other, and I think they don't, but I think they do it just to get people so fired up about
Almost
it.
like a WWE
Yeah,
thing.
like it's
Okay.
like,
Well,
but
maybe.
I like that perspective of Max because he doesn't really know those guys too well. So come from him, who's on the tour and traveling around with those guys and playing, he probably hears a lot more than.
Maybe we'll text Hads after the podcast and get some info. What do you think?
Sure.
Adam Hadwin, by the way. Hads. I'm on a short name basis here. Or Peps.
Peps, yeah. Yeah, actually, do you want to bring that up? Oh, what a joke. The RMU.
Fill
So
me
I
in.
didn't know Kyle Peters, caddies for Mark Hubert. He went to RMU. What's it called? Robert Morris University.
Okay.
So they canceled the men's and women's ice hockey teams, and they've only won everything in the last 10 years. And they just basically canceled the programs. And I mean, I don't know why I brought it up, but I mean, I guess to help Peters, he told me to retweet it the other day. And a lot of people are pissed though, because he used to give a lot of money back to like the alumni program and stuff. And yeah, a lot of people are pissed.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea what was that about.
Sweet.
Why did they cancel it?
There was
Cancel the
like
teams?
literally, I didn't see any reason why. And then one of the chairman board members, he left because he had no idea what was happening. He dropped off the board and
Poor management, maybe, or something.
yeah. So,
All right.
and I know people that have went there besides Peters that played hockey there and whatnot. So I feel for you guys. And I mean, they're done now, but still, as an alumni, it's probably tough. Anything else, boys?
No.
I don't know. What do you got for me? Need me to do an ad?
Not quite yet.
I'm just
But I'll
checking.
just jump off our 3 guests today, and then we'll do an ad for you.
Absolutely.
All right, we have three guests on today, and obviously I said fully loaded podcast. First up, we have Dean Prosti, the tournament chairman of the Scotia Wealth Open for the 17th annual this upcoming weekend in Nipawin, Saskatchewan. Followed by Torrie Coghlin, our sassy golf insider, formerly known as Outsider. Tommy,
Oh, the people know now.
people know. Torrie came on last night, all the way down from Alabama.
He likes to roast you privately to me.
I know. Oh, weirdo. He has won the Nipawin event in the past. And then followed by our good friend Brian Munz, longtime hockey broadcaster, a fellow Queen City kid, doing his own podcast now, and now newly appointed director of golf operations for Golf Manitoba. So 3 interviews, fully loaded golf. We talked a little bit of hockey with Brian Munz, obviously, he still does some stuff for the Jets. And yeah, Troy.
It's 3. Well, how long is the podcast today? It's going to be a long one.
It's going to be a hefty one, boys.
Listen to it while you're driving up to Nipawin. I mean, for those that are playing there.
84, yeah. Turn it on.
Speaking of Nipawin, after your round of golf,
I'm going to crush it.
if you're thirsty.
Cold bevy.
this podcast is brought to you by Molson Canadian. Molson Canadian is introducing the Stanley Cup batch for a limited time in 6-pack bottles. Each batch is passed through the Stanley Cup bowl, bringing you closer to your hockey dream. Drink Molson's.
Leafs don't have a hockey dream anymore.
There it is. What a way to end the intro into the podcast this week. First up, Brian Munz. Hope you guys enjoy it. Alrighty, we are pleased to have on today from Saskatchewan. He's a longtime hockey broadcaster involved in sports for a long time now. And now the new director of golf operations of Golf Manitoba, Brian Munz. Munzy, thanks for joining the podcast today, man.
Anytime, Drew. Good to chat golf, a little bit of hockey. It's a great time of the year, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's starting to, kind of open up down here in the Saskatchewan side of things, and we're going to talk about a a little bit what's happening in Manitoba here, because I want to know your knowledge of it and obviously being in that seat. But first, I want to talk about your new job and, being the golf operations guy in Golf Manitoba. Let's just talk about, you've been there for, a few months now.
Yeah, it's been really something that, I guess 3 or 4 months ago I would have never ever thought of, because we were all focused on the hockey world, and then unfortunately when TSN Radio came to conclusion here in Winnipeg, needed to look at something new, and I love golf. Like, I've been infatuated with the game since I was a kid, and was literally just kind of thinking about, okay, what can I do next? And started brainstorming some ideas, and reached out to their executive director, Jared Latterbrook, because I knew they didn't have a communications person, and I knew with my experience being on the other side of it from a media standpoint that the last 15 years that I'd lived in Winnipeg, there hasn't been a lot of talk about Golf Manitoba, their championships, and just overall growing the game. And as you guys know, and everybody in Canada right now, as we go through the pandemic, golf is one of the things that we can do safely right now, whatever your restrictions are in each province. I know we're a little bit tighter here in Manitoba than what it is in Saskatchewan right now, and other provinces are going through their own things. So, take advantage right now of how big the game is, and then continue to grow that for years to come. So it's been a great, I think you're right, 6-7 weeks, whatever it's been since I've taken over this role as Director of Communications, and I've loved every minute of it so far. And I've got a chance to still dabble in the hockey world. I'm doing some stuff for NHL Network and on the Rod Peterson show this week. So those hockey connections are never going to go away. And I think you know this too, Drew, that hockey and golf go hand in hand. So it's really been a perfect fit for me so far. Loved it.
Awesome. Well, I kind of want to ask a question here, and I've already seen it in Saskatchewan and other provinces too. With golf being so, productive, and it's growing like crazy, because only thing you could do for a while with the pandemic. Some tournaments have been canceled, whether it's not giving up tee times anymore because they want to cater to the people that want to play, whatever it is. I don't know the full logistics of it. How do we keep, in your role, how do we keep the game of golf growing toward more tournament play and keeping everyone playing that's playing golf now, moving forward when the pandemic's over?
Well, I think it starts right from your grassroots. It starts right with your junior program, and I know that's one thing that we've worked hard on with Golf Manitoba and being involved with. I think we have 71 member clubs right now, where you reach out to each of those individually, and one of the first conversations that they seem to come back with right away is wanting to make sure that the young kids are getting involved and really love to grow the game. And it's not even necessarily just scoring, but getting out and just enjoying the fact you can be outside for 4 or 5 hours during the pandemic, and in a time where we've really, I think, all spent too much time inside, where you get a chance to get outside and enjoy the sunshine and bang the ball around whatever score you end up shooting. It's great for everybody moving forward. So I don't know if I would necessarily say it's all about tournament play, but that's a big part of it. But at the end of it, I think grassroots right now and getting the recreational side is just as important as it is the competitive side of it. And, we've had to move back one event so far. Our match play championship was supposed to be going this weekend, actually, and we've pushed it back until August just to, do things right, because, where we are right now, things are starting to trend back here in the right direction. I know you guys are open a lot more than we are here, but, if everybody does their part, we get our vaccinations and continue to social distance, which you can do in golf, and handle the events right, that, we'll be able to play just like they did last year during the pandemic, now here in the summer of 2021.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I kind of want to touch on what you just mentioned on the grassroots, and that's so important. And I think I'm a supporter of junior golf, because I grew up doing the same thing, and starting this podcast. I see the guys at the golf course, the young juniors, and I think creating a fan base, which is awesome. One, but two, seeing them play and not caring what they shoot or whatever it is, and and I watched the show this week with Rod. And you mentioned you and your son went out, and I think he shot a 123. I could be wrong, but either way, that's super cool. He's playing the game, and whether he shoots 400 or shoots 65, that's so important. I think to grow the junior program, because down the road we won't have any players playing if junior golf is not a thing.
Well, and that's how I got into it, right? Like, I remember being a young guy in Regina, and I don't remember how I played, but I remember my dad taking me to the Torrie golf course. Like, that's where I remember for the first time, swinging the clubs and going out with my dad and hanging out. And, I remember not playing all the holes. I remember just kind of jumping on the cart and riding around, but getting a chance to swing the sticks and hit the ball a little bit. And then where it really took off for me was upon endless summer, we'd always go up to Waskesiu for 3 weeks of our summer vacation, and we'd have putting contests on the practice green, and then you'd hit the driving range, and then you'd go for ice cream after, right? So that was a huge part of my vivid memories being a youngster, and I'm in my 40s now, and I still love going back to Waskesiu and doing the same thing, right? So I think that's where you get kind of a grasp on the game, and again, it's not what you shoot score-wise, but it's just kind of the whole aura of the game, and then obviously watching it on television now and how they've been able to grow the game, and you look at it through social media and all the different stars that are there in the game of golf, and obviously Tiger Woods kind of took things to a brand new level, and now you've got the Rory McIlroys and the Dustin Johnsons and the Justin Thomases, and you've got the DeChambeau rivalry right now. So, there's so much to talk about in the game that I think that we're in a really exciting place right now where golf is up there with hockey and baseball and basketball and football.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong there at all. You touched on tournament play in Manitoba, and the guidelines are a little different than here. And for me, who doesn't know a whole lot about a lot of the golf tournaments that go on there, I played a few, and I played in Shiloh, I believe, one time in a CN FutureLink event, great course. But just touch on some of the events that do go on in Golf Manitoba. I mean, maybe some that, some players from here could, travel down there once this is all over. But yeah, just talk about that.
Well, I think all the provinces are kind of set up the same, and I know Brian Lee and Clark Stork and their staff right now with Golf Saskatchewan kind of have the same deal where you've got the amateur and you've got on both the men's and the women's side, you've got the senior side, you've got some junior events, you've got a match play event, and then other provinces may have a little bit more or a little bit less, but it's a feeder system into Golf Canada and then getting a chance to play it at national events. So those are obviously a little bit more pointed towards your very talented golfers, but I think there's also more of a push right now to get a little bit of that recreational side or the net in where, we talk so much inside the Golf Canada umbrella about being a member where you get your handicap, and if you've got your handicap, then you can take part in these events. Well, then maybe you use a little bit more net where if you're a 2 handicap and I'm a 12, we can go and play in the same event where I can still have some fun, and there's actually going to be a little bit of pressure on you because if you don't use the handicap, it's over before it starts. Yeah. Right? So I think there's an opportunity there where everybody can grow the game and, never know down the road, maybe have a little bit of a fun rivalry. I know it used to happen in years past between Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and you'd get groups of guys going back and forth, and maybe that's something that we could get over the next few years kind of going again when the borders open, first and foremost. But overall, again, I think it's just an opportunity to grow the game and have fun and just enjoy what you're doing playing golf.
Yeah, that was actually one thing, as you just mentioned that. I was curious to know if there actually ever was maybe a top 8 from Saskatchewan, a top 8 from Manitoba, a top 8 from Alberta and BC kind of thing. And maybe there is kind of a match play thing. Like, that would be kind of cool to see, who's the best in Western Canada. Like, that'd be super cool to see. And maybe there is a way that we could do it down the road, because I think it'd be kind of cool to see where everyone's talent is at. Obviously, they have the Canadian mids and men's and all that, but maybe a match play format style.
Yeah, that would be fun. There's no doubt. Like, you think of the Lobstick in Waskesiu, obviously. They've got the Tamarack here at Clear Lake, which are two of the really big respective match play golf tournaments in both provinces. And yeah, it would be fun. And I guess it kind of likens to where we are right now with the Scotia North Division in the NHL. You hear the 7 Canadian cities always barking at each other who's got the best team. And, those things are kind of being whittled down in what's been obviously a remarkable year in the NHL. So we'll see. Maybe something is to be able to happen down the road. But obviously we've got to get a lot of things medically happen before any of those things could even start to get into a legitimate conversation. But I agree, being a Saskatchewan guy and living here in Manitoba now for the last, what's it been, 15, 16 years, that it would be fun to have some bragging rights, just like we do with the Riders and the Bombers and the Labor Day and then the Banjo Bowl.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned handicap, and I want to know how your golf game is these days, how much you playing, and, of course, what's your handicap, Munzy?
Well, I would have really liked to have this conversation last year because I got down to a career low. My index was 4.9, which was really good for me.
Nice.
And I'm struggling right now. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've only been out 5 times, and the inconsistency for me is kind of taking a little bit of a beating on it. So I think I'm around a 6.7 right now. And just early season doldrums, I guess we'll call it a little bit. But I love getting out there, and we're starting to get some decent weather here as well. I think just like you guys are.
It's been so windy here, though.
Around 30 or, that's living on the prairies, though, and
True.
we're finding that here in Winnipeg that there's not a lot of days where there isn't a lot of wind, so you have to kind of adjust and learn how to play there. But, hopefully as the summer warms up here, I'll get a chance to play a little bit more consistently like I have in years past because I've been pretty fortunate. I probably average between 40 and 50 rounds a year, so
Nice.
I love to get out and play the game.
I was curious to know, like when you're playing it in Manitoba now, like, can you play in a foursome, or what are the rules on that?
Right now, overall, you can't.
Okay.
The provincial guideline that's in effect until June 12th is you can only play with individuals from your own household, and it's the same. Like, we're locked down here right now. You can't have people over to your house. There's no in dining right now at restaurants. You can do pickup. They'll deliver to you, but for another week and a half here or so, we are tight and just trying to bend the curve back here to kind of take some stress off the hospitals and the medical fields here right now that are obviously extremely overwhelmed.
Wow. Okay. Well, I hope you guys get through that. I mean, we're hoping that we're in a little ahead of you guys, but I mean, we're hoping that we stay this way and keep going trending the right way. But Munzy, I do want to talk some hockey with you. Now your current home team or hometown is Winnipeg. They win 4 straight, and I'd imagine a healthy and rested up, waiting to find out who they play. What do you know about the Jets in round 1? I mean, before you answer that question, I coach hockey, and our first year we were a second place team in the division, and we lost 4 straight. So we were exactly like the Oilers. We didn't get out of the first round. I'm just curious to know, first off on the Jets, like I like the way they play. They're heavy, they're mean, and they can score, and they're a pretty good team. So I just want to know your thoughts on the Jets in round 1, and what's going to happen in round 2 here.
Well, as you know, every good coach has a good goalie, and that's the way it started here with Winnipeg for sure. He's the reigning Vezina Trophy winner, and Connor Hellebuck was fantastic in that opening round, and there was so much talk going into the playoff series about how the Jets were, and they weren't very consistent in the last 6-7 weeks of the regular season, and I think that was well documented all the way through, where they went on a long losing skid, and then I think that maybe got blown out of proportion a little bit more. And as we talked earlier on about kind of the whole thing being watching what's going on in Canada, is that whole thing kind of got going. So when they kind of got on that run going the wrong way, I think everybody just thought, okay, the Jets are going to lose real quick in their opening round. And then actually they ended up winning, I think it was 3 of their last 5. And if you want to include the 4-game sweep of Edmonton, I think they've won 6 of their last 8 or something along those numbers anyway. It's close to that. But, they started to really go in the right direction at the right time. And they've got a good team. Like, their top 12 forwards I would put up against most teams, especially in Canada right now with the depth. Kevin Cheveldayoff, Plain Lake, Saskatchewan guy. Adds some veterans like Trevor Lewis, who won a couple of cups in Los Angeles. Adds Nate Thompson as their 4th-line center. So Paul Maurice can use that 4th line maybe a little bit more this year than what he has in years past. And And then you look at the top 9 who are fantastic all the way through, and they were able to get Nikolai Ehlers and Pierre-Luc Dubois back healthy into Game 3 when the series came back to Winnipeg here. So that helped. And on the other side of it, Dave Tippett, Moosomin, Saskatchewan, really only had Leon Draisaitl, Darnell Nurse, and then Connor McDavid going. Everybody else, to me, in watching every minute of that series, didn't play up to par. So when you've only got 3 guys going, it's pretty tough. Mike Smith played okay, but Connor Hellebuck was obviously better. And that's kind of where it came down to it for me. So it's going to be very intriguing to see what happens here in round 2 for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, and obviously Troy's not here today. He's a big Oilers fan, and he was upset, but also knew, kind of how they lost and why. And I think, and I want to ask you this. I'm sure you talked with, Paul Maurice about this. I mean, their game plan, and I think I would coach the same way. If they have 2 players that are, that dominant in the game, you go after them all night, and you make their life not fun to play the game. And I think the Jets did that very well. Or am I wrong?
No, you're right. They did. But for the most part, as we saw through the 56-game regular season schedule and then the last number of years that he's been in the league, not a lot of teams have been able to successfully stop Connor McDavid because he's that good. The area that really came to light for me in the playoffs was, he was the guy that turned over a bad goal in Game 3 and a bad goal in Game 4, which really hurt their hockey club.
Yeah.
So, he's magic in the offensive zone, but there's some work for him in the other 100 feet of ice that he has to get better on. And you think of the opening game in the Vegas-Colorado series in which the Avalanche dominated the Golden Knights, how good Nathan MacKinnon was, and that's been water cooler conversation right now that if you were starting a team, would you rather have Nathan MacKinnon or would you rather have Connor McDavid? And I'm leaning towards having MacKinnon because for me, he makes everybody on the ice better. Not saying that McDavid doesn't. I'm not starting to start a fire in that regard by any means. But to me right now, Nathan MacKinnon is a little bit more of a complete player than what Connor McDavid has been able to be as of late. And that's probably why I'd take number 29 on my team. But, the one thing, and I know you were talking, you've got an Oiler guy on your show, and there's a lot of them on the prairies, is you've got to give a player like Darnell Nurse, who in that last game played over 60 minutes.
Oh, it's incredible.
All the credit in the world for what he was able to do. They've got a lot of good pieces there in Edmonton, but I go back to the beginning of this abbreviated calendar is I didn't have Edmonton in the playoffs. They were not one of my top 4 teams going in. So the fact that they finished second place, I think everybody should be excited about that. But there's also a piece of it here right now where they've got to figure out some of the missing pieces too.
Yeah, absolutely. Munzie, I do have 2 more hockey ones for you. The first one, as a hockey guy yourself, the Oilers this offseason, what are some of their biggest, priorities? Is it rebuilding, getting guys for McDavid? I mean, does he, do they need a goalie? I think they need a goalie. I want your insight on, what the Oilers have to do or should do in the offseason here.
Well, I think they need more depth. There's no question about that. I'd be okay with Mike Smith as my goalie. And I know listening to their year end that, I think Ken Holland and he and Dave Tippett, who obviously coached him in Arizona, are very familiar with him. I think, he's a very suitable netminder in the NHL. And I thought he was fine in the playoffs, but the other guy at the other end was better.
Yeah.
And right now he's the best goalie in the NHL based on the fact that he's got the Vezina sitting on his mantle. Now, people will say Andrei Vasilevsky and Carey Price in Montreal, and, you can have an argument about all of those guys, and if you're their defense lawyer, you have a great opportunity to stand up and say, no, my guy is better than Hellebuck. But, Connor was better than what Mike was in those 4 games, and that was the difference along with the rest of the depth for Winnipeg. So I think that's the key word for Edmonton right now is they need to be able to support the likes of McDavid and Draisaitl and Nurse and get a little bit more out of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and players like that you really expect for them to carry the mail. And obviously having a healthy Oscar Klefbom would be a big piece for them on the back end as well, who they didn't have this year for the majority.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Munzie, now that we're into round 2, who do you like? Top 4 teams that are going that way. What do you like, and who do you see in the Cup final?
Well, it's interesting if you want to look at a whole scenario, big picture like that, because there's so much hockey left to be played, and you've got the injuries, you've got momentum in series, but I like, and I don't want to sound like a homer here, but just based on what the Jets were able to learn back in 2018, I think that was huge for them to be able to go through a 7-game series against Nashville, be able to win Game 7 on the road against the Predators. They ran out of gas against Vegas in that next series when they did get into the Western Conference Finals. So I think that's big for them. And then, as we talked earlier on, nobody's expecting Colorado to sweep the Vegas Golden Knights in their current series, despite the fact that they dominated them by 6. But, I think Ryan Reeves made a huge mistake in the way that he handled that whole thing. I think we all knew that he had to go out and do something, and he was going to. But going over the edge and now, really taking any of that fear factor away for Colorado, because, he's not really a piece of the series here, that was a big loss for them. So I still like Winnipeg, Colorado coming out of the West. And, from an East standpoint here right now, I don't know. I'd love to see the New York Islanders make a run.
Yeah.
But Boston is going to give them everything they can handle. And as defensive as the Islanders play, I don't know if you can keep that Boston team off the score sheet from scoring enough goals. It's hard to go against the defending champs coming out of the East. It really is. I think Tampa's going to have a chance to play for a Stanley Cup again. And then if I had to come right down to it, Winnipeg and Colorado going up against Tampa in the final would be a pretty good Stanley Cup. And obviously we'd love to see it here north of the border and have some Canadian bragging rights for sure for our country.
Well, Munzie, I have a hard time doing this. I have a hard time wrapping up interviews, and I forgot to ask, but I want to ask now, your podcast, can we chat about it?
Sure.
Yeah, let us know what it's all about.
Yeah, so what I've done, and as much as we've talked about golf and this thing for me, I'm obviously so very much involved in the hockey world. So Jetstream is something that I put together after each and every Winnipeg Jets game, and especially with some of the games in the opening round there against Edmonton that were the 8:45 local time starts, and they had the double overtime game that didn't end until 1:08 in the morning. It's an opportunity for a lot of people as soon as the game's over, they want to go to bed. So for me, it's a recap of the game the night before, and whether people are listening to it as we record it and put it together online late at night around midnight, or if they're listening to it on their phone or on their laptop at work the next office. It's called Jetstream. It's presented by Breezy Bend Country Club, one of our member clubs for Golf Manitoba. And, it's just a recap of the game that the Jets have played the night before with head coach Paul Maurice and some of the players after the game. So it gets you up to date and lets you know what the players and coaches think the night after a game, hopefully after a win, but some nights after a loss as well.
Awesome, Munzie. Well, first off, I appreciate you coming back on today. Stay in touch. When the borders open up, let's, whether I'm coming there or you're coming down here, let's play some golf. We're both tailor-made athletes. Whether you like hearing that or not, we're both athletes and tailor-made golf players. So, yeah, I appreciate coming on, Munzie, and stay in touch. And, yeah, take care.
Absolutely. Thanks for the time again, Drew. Very much appreciated. And just real quick, for everybody as well that's in the province, we wanted to let everybody know that yesterday on Tuesday, the registration opened for the general public for our annual Connexus Credit Union Humboldt Broncos Memorial Golf Tournament that Colorado Avalanche head coach Jared Bednar and I host. And this year our event at the Humboldt Golf Club is August 13th and 14th, the 2 days, the Friday, Saturday. We're doing individual tee times this year. So from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m., there's 10-minute intervals for golf. So if you want to come out and obviously help us honor that 2017, 2018 Humboldt Broncos team, you can come out, join us for a round of golf. Again, Jared and I will be there, and a bunch of the Bronco families as well. And it's a fun weekend. It's a tough weekend for everybody when we get together and remember everybody that was involved in the bus accident. But if you've got some time in the month of August, feel free to register. Give the Humboldt Golf Club a call, and you can book your tee time. And if you can't get in, put your name on the waiting list, because there's always a little bit of movement between now and August. So hopefully we'll see everybody out in Humboldt in August.
Right. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I knew I had one point. I knew I had one last question. I always say last question. That's what a podcast should be called. Last question with Drew. But thanks for bringing that up. Munzy, like I said, stay in touch, and I hope the borders open up soon, and you guys are all staying safe down there, and we'll get out and golf soon.
Sounds good, Drew. Take care. Chat anytime.
Yep, you bet. Alrighty, we're pleased to have on today to talk about the upcoming event that is held in Nipawin, Saskatchewan, at one of the most maybe nicest courses in the province, Evergreen Golf Course. No free ads. Dean Prosky, thanks for joining the podcast today, man.
Hey, how's it going, Drew?
I'm doing great.
Good.
We're 4 or 5 days away from going down to Nipawin. I'm excited. I know you're probably excited, but also you're probably pretty busy right now, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's the kind of the calm before the storm here, but you usually get some draw. You get some draw changes, so we end up redoing the draw 3 or 4 times. Some player changes this last week, as there always are, and that comes with the territory. People's just different players here and there have to change for some reason, but it's all good. We got a great field this year, and just want to make sure we put on a good show for everybody, and it'd be good to see everybody after a year off.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you confirm the first tee off yet? Who's in the first group?
I know you're in it, actually, and then I'm going to leave the other 2 to be named later. How about that?
Oh, okay. Exciting.
In the first group, honorary right off the bat.
I love it.
So, if you don't play well, play fast is what I always say. So there we go.
Well, I've never heard that one before to me yet, so I appreciate that. All right, okay, I want to talk about it. Obviously, the 17th Scotia Wealth Open. It's supposed to be the 18th due to COVID. But first off, what are you most excited for, I guess, is, having the 17th annual Scotia Wealth this year?
You know what? It's kind of fun to see all the players come every year. We got this year's field is really second to none, and it's getting the quality players we get every year at the event. To me, seeing everybody, I haven't seen a lot of these people in probably over a year. It's going to be 2 years this coming June this week, so it's nice to see everybody, see the faces, but see some great golf. I mean, it's fun to see the young guys come, and the middle guys and the pros and everybody in between that come to the event every year. That's a special thing for me, is seeing everybody. And then I really enjoy our honorees every year, honoring the past players and the builders of the game that unfortunately passed away this past year, and I like giving acknowledgement to them every year as well. Yeah,
for sure. This event is great for, I think the camaraderie around everyone there. They love being there. It's usually pretty good weather, and it's just a fun track, and you're up north, and everyone comes from everywhere. It's pretty cool to see all the different people that come. And leading to my next question, I believe it's an 84-ish man field. This has to be 84. One of the biggest fields, hey?
It is. We had 84 confirmed by February, which is very early.
Wow.
But we had 72, and we kept getting some quality guys who want to play. And I said, okay, let's take it to 84. It makes it easy for all the threes. We can go threesomes, and we're doing a crossover on day 2, so that number kind of worked. It won't be as much anymore to run than 72, just a few extra people there. But, with the COVID protocols we have, just making sure we don't have any people lingering around and that kind of stuff, and set an example that of running a golf tournament. And that's kind of what we want to do, is make sure we put on a great event and make it as an example for other events throughout the summer.
Absolutely. Okay, well, that, right into my next one here, what do you think this means for golfers, sports, et cetera? I mean, all the sport guys and girls, that we can have a tournament, finally after what we've all been through.
Well, I know they had some tournaments last year, like they had the Amateur and they had the Northern Amateur, and there were some tournaments back. And, unfortunately, we didn't get to have our event last year. It was at a kind of a different kind of time. So, people really want to get together and play some competitive golf, see where their game's at, and play a nice golf course. And it's the camaraderie where everybody, doesn't really see everybody during the year. And it's been a long time for a lot of people to put faces to names again. So it's going to be pretty fun and special to see everybody again after 2 years. And it's nice to see everybody back. And I can't thank all the players enough from Regina and Lloydminster PA. We got players all across the province, so it's really it's special for me running the event and get to see everybody. I do it for them. It's fun.
Okay, so like being the tournament chairman, being on that committee, what sorts of procedures goes into getting this, this high of an event, quality event together? I mean, and obviously with COVID protocols, just let everyone know kind of what you've been doing behind the scenes and now and kind of what you expect going into the week.
It's just strictly on the COVID kind of thing. I guess it's no watering around the golf course is what we want to do. We don't want to have a lot of crowds out there, so we really want to make sure that it's spaced out, and that's our main thing. That I know it's a social event, which is still going to be a social event. But we just want to make sure that everybody's putting their thinking caps on when it comes to what we're doing here, because we want to set a good example. So, but my committee, Devin Ma, Ryan Haidt, Scott Allen, and Derek Talon, host pro at Nipwin Evergreen. Everybody kind of has their what they bring to the pie. Everybody has something they do.
Yeah.
Ryan takes care of this, and Devin does a draw, and I do this. And everybody has, it kind of runs like clockwork. But this year, I think it's after taking a year off and coming back this year, it's thinking, okay, I got to remember this. Did I bring a trophy polish? Just little things where you just you don't want to forget anything.
Yeah.
So I always start loading up the car probably a week in advance of things that I don't want to forget and make the trip back home. So. But, we're really looking forward. I know the course is looking forward to hosting the event again. And I think it was sadly missed last year by everybody, and it's nice to be back in the limelight there a bit again.
So 17 years, obviously it's supposed to be the 18th, but, when you guys started this, 17 years ago, 18 years ago, like, I guess what was the process, or, like, what made you want to get a tournament going in Nipawin, Saskatchewan?
Well, Tyler, I love the golf course. And Tyler Baker was out there at the time. I said, let's get a tournament going. Let's have a tournament.
Yeah.
And he just told me, he says, well, we got to, you just can't put it out there as a tournament. You got to, so I got on the blower and started calling players, and I still do that today. I still invite players to play and fill your event, and then fill your event with young players coming up, and just try and, you have to be proactive in filling your golf tournament. And that's kind of what we did from day one. I remember we had 45 or 50 guys. I'm thinking, we're going to be hard pressed to get this. And then you're at 55, 64, and it kept growing every year. And, it's being proactive with your event. I think if you stand still and don't make any changes, and just, you got to add different things here and there. And, having you guys here this year off the Hosel, doing the interviews with the players after the round, and adding what you guys do and you're going to bring to the event this year. It's fun. It's fun to do things outside the box to give the players in Saskatchewan a different feel. And, we all enjoy that. So it's just try to always take your game up to another level every year if you can. And that's all just things that make it special. And that's kind of what we try to do.
Awesome. Well, as you just mentioned, off the Hosel, I know we're going down there this year. Half of the team's coming, but we plan to do some, Golf Channel style, pre-show, during show, after show, and then get some videos and stuff and pictures and whatnot for you guys in the tournament. And the idea behind that was, the content and showing some recognition to players that, aren't sometimes pro golfers like the PGA guys. Because there's a lot of good players. I do want to ask you, and obviously I'm sure you've talked with the committee. What are you most excited about that, I guess?
With you guys being there?
Yeah.
Besides you, Drew, actually going and signing jerseys for us, actually, it just brings it to a whole new level. I mean, we got our scores area, and then you guys are going to have some interviews with players after the round. I mean, that's something that players don't get that. I mean, it's fun. Low guy in each group. So if you want to interview us beforehand, we probably can, Drew. But I'm playing with some players that I know are going to kick my butt, so we'll leave it at that. But that's fun. It's fun to actually take it to another level. And as you mentioned, kind of like Golf Channel, and having some interviews. And you know what? I'm at the point I would love to put on a headset and sit there and call the play-by-plays instead of playing. But I'm also keep playing while I can.
Absolutely, yeah. You play as long as you can. I want you to, kind of go off of the chart here and, give me 3 guys you think or 5 guys that are going to be in the mix to win this thing.
You know what? I look at it and there's so many guys that could actually. I think we
Remember
chatted
this, though,
about
Dino. I
earlier.
was day one leader 2 years ago. So.
Oh, hey, to walk around day one leader, trust me, if I'm day one leader after round one, I'll be walking around all over the place, going to everybody's hotel room, introducing myself, asking what everybody shot. Yeah, I'll be all over that. So you know what? There's so many good players. I mean, it's hard not to pick, some of the familiar names. I mean, Klughardt, Stewart. I like Phil Jonas. Phil Jonas is a great player. He's a professional as well. Pat Marcia can defend this title. He's won it before.
Yeah.
We got a lot of past champions. I mean, then last year's Saskatchewan Ambler champions can be right in there again. Campbell. Campbell's going to be right
Ty,
in
yep.
there. Yeah, Ty Campbell. It's such a deep field, and that's just the part of it. I mean, you got Sloan, you got Matt Kamada, you got lots of different CPGA. We've got 12, 13 CPGA members this year. You got Clint Schiller coming from Lloydminster. He's going to be right in the thick of it. He lost to Pat in a playoff 2 years ago. Jerry Christensen's in there. Like, it's just, there's so many guys that could win this event. Like, honestly, I'm curious to see. It's always 1 or 2 under or 3 under is in the thick of it every year, and it should be in the thick, but you never know. No one's really, since Dean Brown won his second one, I think he was 6 under for the tournament, which is a 4-shot win. But it's there's a lot of guys here that are more than capable enough to shoot the scores to win the event. It's just, it is early in the year. It's first term of the year. People are a little jittery, probably me as well. So you know what? You just got to roll with it and see what happens. But there's a lot of guys, actually. When I see some guy play well, it's never really a surprise because there's lots of great talent in this event, as you shot your 70 a few years ago. So
Yeah, not a big
and that
deal.
was not a surprise, Drew. Not a surprise at all.
Standard.
I only lost a lot of money on that, but that's okay.
Well, Dino, like I said, I'm excited. I know my team's coming down. We're excited to get to work down there. I'm excited to play. We love your event. I know all the players. I've talked to a lot of them. They're very excited to get back to some normalcy here. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you're going to the range to practice up here.
Always.
But I appreciate your time today, Dean, and we'll see you on Friday.
Yeah, Drew, and thanks for the call and all that you guys do, and look forward to seeing you Friday. All the best. Drive safe.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dino.
Thanks, Drew. Take care. Bye.
There it is, Dean Prosky, the chairman of the Scotia Wealth Open, and one of, if not the best fields around. June 5th and 6th this coming week. So stay tuned to lots of interviews that will be taking place during the event and will be posted online for you guys to watch and listen. So next interview is with Torrie Coghlin. He's down in Alabama. We're going to talk about Nipawin, Scotia Wealth Open, June 5th and 6th. So we hope you guys enjoy it. Alrighty, we are now joined by Torrie Coghlin all the way down in Alabama. Torrie, thanks for hopping back on the podcast, man.
Drew, what's up, big boy? It's been a while.
It has been. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute, as the kids are saying nowadays. But now we're finally here, the week of the Scotia Wealth Open, June 5th and 6th, up obviously in Nipawin at Evergreen Golf Course. No free ads, but it's time to now see where the top 25 guys were at. See where everyone's game's at. I know everyone's been playing lots. I mean, obviously you've played in this event before, and I believe you've won this tournament, correct?
I did about a decade ago.
10 years ago.
I don't know how to win anymore.
Well, that's all right. You still won.
More than that. Shoot, 2000, I don't know, whatever, 2010 or something like that.
All right. You won. That's all that matters. So you have experience of, playing in this event. First off, I want to talk to you about it. What's one thing that you really enjoy about the Scotia Wealth Open?
Man, just the camaraderie of the tournament. Like, all the boys are there. It's early in the year. It's usually, well, now that the Saskatoon Amateur is later in the year, I think it might be the first tournament of the year, kind of, other than May Day. But all the boys are there. You're excited to see each other, and really you're kind of locked into, nothing against Nipawin. It's not exactly a booming metropolis. Everyone is kind of within 2 square miles of each other, so everyone's there. You're having fun together, hanging at the golf course. They've got a great deck, awesome staff. It's just phenomenal. And Dean and his guys, Devin and I'm forgetting the other guy, sorry. But anyways, they do a fantastic job, man. It's just such a good tournament and so much fun. golf course is awesome. It's always in good shape.
Yeah.
So it's just a blast, man.
Okay, so I do want to talk to you about, obviously everyone listening and watching, 84-man field this year. There's, a handful of pros, college players, everyone's a legit player in this event, besides myself. But I do want to, ask you and everyone listening, you've won this, walk us through what you really think that players have to do to win this tournament.
Don't make big numbers. That's it. Par is never a bad score. Because if you look at the scores, they're never that low.
Yeah.
And I feel like that course is really gettable. Like, I feel like there is a 64 up there, but no one ever does it, myself included. It's just because those doubles kind of lurk up and bite you once in a while. But, man, I'd say just don't take stupid mistakes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously, like everyone knows now, like when we, I started this, in the pandemic, and now we're here. You and I met through, via phone call, and we did the top 25. We chatted, we became good allies through all this and good friends. So I do want to talk to you about, with you knowing a lot of the players that are older than I am, who do you really like this week?
It's hard to go against the standard favorites. You got Danny, Ty. Is Kate in there?
Yeah, I never heard of those guys.
No.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Oh yeah, Cade's in there, and well, I can go on and on and on, like straight down the list of 25. They're all deadly players, and then you've got some really good pros in there: John Greeno, Jerry Christensen, Pat Marcia, defending champ.
Is that
Dean
good?
Brown.
Yeah, downtown.
I don't know if he's any good at golf or not.
Downtown,
But,
Dean Brown.
I mean, there's so many good players in this field, especially with 84. Like there's legit. Oh, I just saw Carl Parrington, throwback, past champ of the Saskam. I don't know if you've heard of him because you're younger, but
I have not.
man,
No.
there's legit probably 30 guys that could win this tournament, maybe more.
Yeah.
I'll look closer.
Yeah, I know there's definitely a lot of good players on this list, and we just talked to Dean. He's really excited for it, looking forward to the whole event. 84 players, that's exciting to see. And we asked him about, what it means to get kind of sports back, or, even having a golf tournament. And he mentioned there was, the Saskam last year, but, having another local event, I guess you'd say, on the Sask event tour, having a Nipawin. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, you're down south. Things are moving a lot faster than us, but, I mean, you have to say it's, it's pretty exciting for the players. Yeah, you'd think.
Man, I think it's huge for the boys, man. It's like the whole pandemic. Obviously, we've been over this a million times. It's been hard on everybody. Like, and just to get your mental sanity. Like, I've told so many people that ask about competitive golf, like, I tell them it's like a drug. You can't get that high from anywhere else.
Yeah.
And everyone's suffering and only basically playing one tournament last year. Like, I think everybody is just chomping at the bit to get back. So I'm so happy for all the guys that get to play in this tournament, and I'm jealous of them. Like, man, I wish I could be there. If the border would open up, I would have. But no, I'm excited to see what happens.
So obviously we've mentioned, you and I have, done a lot of these, video calls or podcasts throughout the pandemic and the wintertime, creating this top 25. I want to talk about, I mean, we talked with Dean about us going down there and covering it kind of like the Golf Channel. And I'm probably going to call you at some point during the event for a little pre-show or post-show to kind of update what's going on. But I do want to know, like, what do you think that's like for those guys? Do you think they'll like it or no?
I think they do. I mean, the whole thing is, obviously, it's not like anything official, not like it's going to get them into any tournament or keep them out of any tournament. I think the boys enjoy it. And I think it's kind of fun, like gives kind of some guys some things to shoot for, and kind of keeps track of where guys are at. Because with so few tournaments, I mean, with all these tournaments getting canceled, I mean, the order of merit is so limited on events that even have points. So we'll take care of that for them.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about the top 25 now. The Saskatchewan top 25 amateurs. Let's talk about the point system that we've created.
Well, it's going to be a little heavier after the announcements of a few tournaments getting canceled. So we're going to have quite high ratings for Nipawin. Probably double, by ratings I mean points.
Yeah.
Probably double that for the provincial events. And I don't even know what else is out there other than Nipawin and
I think the lob
I guess
sticks
the
are
northern and lob stick are going on. So they'll probably Nipawin, the lob stick, and the northern will all be probably equal because they're all big tournaments, tons of good players at those. And then the provincial championship should probably have double those.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have it in front of you, let's chat about, what are the points and what are available for Nipawin this upcoming weekend.
Nipawin, well, to tell you the truth, I don't have the exact points. But I can give you the standings going into Nipawin.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do that. Rip it off.
All right. Starting from 25 up, we've got Corey Sealander, 25, Travis Beefy, 24, Ashley Zigeman, 23, Colin Coben, 22, Mike Hertberger, 21, Mark Sweeney, 20, Noah Kozak, 19, Ryan McNall, 18, Carson Harcourt, 17, Kyle Weeb, 16, Josh Nagy, 15, Brad Phelps, 14, Tyler Zaba, 13, Sean McNall, 12, Scotty Thompson, 11, Jeremy Ride, 10, and Tyler Wright, 9, Sean Dunphy, 8, Mitchell Matichuk, 7, David Stewart, 6, Justin Wood, 5, Roman Timmerman, 4, Kate Johnson, 3, Ty Campbell, 2, and Danny Klukart is leading.
There it is, the top 25. That's our rankings, and we're going to continue to grow that. So some of those names will change and fall off because some guys aren't playing in the event. But here's your chance now, obviously, when listening to this and going into the event. I mean, and whether you want to be on it or not, your play's in a show, where you should be. So Torrie and I will do some work on the back side of things and get some numbers put together. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what's all going to unfold.
Well, actually, what we were going to do was make it kind of like a money format, like match it up with big PGA Tour events. So say, I don't know, I'll just pick out a random name here. Let's say Chris Carley wins Nipawin, and the winner of this week is, makes $1.4 million. He gets $1.4 million. We might do something like that. I don't know. We haven't decided fully, but
definitely not in dollar value.
And
though.
Remember, all these points are not based on your play, they're based on where your peers rank you. So
yes, but now moving forward,
if you want to go out and prove us wrong, then prove us wrong.
Yes, exactly. But now moving forward, it will be played, and that's where you'll be placed. Correct?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, there's our insider, Torrie Coghlin, all the way down from Alabama. Torrie, I thank you for coming on today, and I will be in contact this weekend as we'll be broadcasting golf, just like Jim Nance, but I'm nowhere in the same league as him, so I'm excited to play myself. Hopefully I play well, but excited to bring some recognition to the guys that I feel really deserve to be noticed.
I appreciate it, Drew. Thank you. Go Leafs.
Alrighty, episode 74 of Off the Hosel. Another great trio of interviews. Dean Prosky, Torrie Coghlin, all the way down in Alabama, and Brian Munz. Yeah, a lot of fun with these three. We will see Dean this weekend coming up. Big golf tournament up in Nipawin. Boys, thoughts on the interview?
I was always happy to see Torrie's magical mustache. I mean, man, I wish I could grow that thing.
You guys are bros.
I know. He likes to carve you, like I said earlier. He sends me private messages about movie quotes that you don't know because you're too young and we're too old. So, yeah, no, it's good having Torrie on.
Yeah, Brian, and thanks to Brian for coming on. Good luck to his on his new job, right, Drew?
Yep, new job. Yeah, Director of Golf Operations, Golf Manitoba. They're getting things going up there. They're a little more tight-nipped. Was it nipped? Tight-knit than we are down in Saskatchewan here. So hopefully, I think this whole pandemic thing is going in the right direction, which is nice. We're seeing a lot of, vaccinations and
Trending
positive.
to the right direction.
Trending upwards. Troy, while you're here still, rip off the social handles, would you?
Well, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We've got @_off the Hosel and off the Hosel. Check out our YouTube page at off the Hosel. Subscribe, like, share.
Comment on the YouTube videos.
We love the feedback. It's good to be back in the saddle. It's been a few weeks.
It's been a while.
It's been a hot while.
Hot man.
Yeah.
Also, good luck to Drew. Nipwin
Thanks,
this weekend.
boys.
Good luck to everyone else, too.
We're rooting for him.
Oh, and I didn't even announce this. The sponsor of all of our pre-show, during show, and whole tournament down there for Off the Hosel is Perfect Turf. So they've took the Liberty? Yeah, the liberty of sponsoring the tournament, the pre-show for us and our Off the Hosel stuff. So thanks to Perfect Turf. I work there. So, yeah, we'll have samples there.
No free ads.
No, they're paying.
No, I know.
So it's good. Yeah, we're excited. Fellas, Troy, happy to see you back. We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely.
Good to see you, boys.
Good luck again in Nipwin, and good luck to all our competitors that are going to be there. But I'm rooting for this guy. So.
And if you're not rooting for me, don't listen to the show. I don't know. Okay. Danny will talk next week. Troy, hopefully talk next week. Scotty D in the crowd. Christian, sayonara. Everyone else have a great Wednesday. We'll talk to you this weekend. If not, see you next week. Peace. See ya.